Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Brad Lone Wolf, and today's video I'm going to be looking at an article that I saw on Pinterest, and that's basically 25 practical uses for duct tape. Now, duct tape has been around for years, as we know, and pretty much most armies are held together by duct tape. But I wanted to test some of the things that this article says that you can use duct tape for. Now, to be fair and to be honest and to be upfront, there's going to be a couple, at least 2 or 3, out of the whole article that I can't use, and I'll explain why when I get to them. Now, I intend to do this in 2 parts, so this will be the first part of maybe 10 uses that I can think of, or not that I can think of, that I can read, that I read in this article, and then there'll be another part next week. So with that being said, I know I keep looking down there, that's where my phone is. With that being said, I'll switch the camera view now, and we'll try some of these uses. Okay, so the first one that this article says that you can use a duct tape for is to repair a broken water bottle or cracked water bottle or a hydration pack. Now, I'm not going to fill this hydration pack up. I do have my duct tape here. The idea being that you find your split, and what you're supposed to do is make sure that your bladder is dry, and then you put the duct tape over the split, and then apparently that is supposed to hold back water in an emergency. Now, yes and no with this. I can see it working, but at the same time, this duct tape probably will not hold back even the smallest amount of pressure, and your bladder will probably still leak. To make sure that this is a little bit more effective, what you need to do is boil a pan of water, and then theoretically, well, not theoretically, once the pan is boiled, you put it over the duct tape. The glue of the duct tape should seep into the split, and when it cools down, seals the split. It's not a good long-term repair. It is literally a short-term repair, and you will need to replace your bladder when you get back to civilization. That's the first one that it's supposed to. Do. Again, I would take this one with a little pinch of salt. Moving on to the next one. So the next use for duct tape is survival arrow fletching. Now, this, I can actually attest to the fact that it does work because I've seen it working. I know somebody that makes their own arrows, and they use duct tape quite regularly to make their own fletchings. So, let's do that now. Well, I'll make one fletching, so you don't have to, so you're not sat here completely bored. Right. Just go and grab some scissors. Now, obviously, if you're in a survival situation, you probably have a knife, and a knife would work for this. So best. Let's try that again. There we go. It needs to be about so long. About 4 or 5 inches, maybe a bit longer. Then what you need to do is fold it in half, but don't stick it all the way down. If you stick it all the way down, you've lost completely, which is easier said than done because I've just done it. So let's start again. Good job I've got a whole roll of duct tape. Try again. Fold in half lengthways. Don't let the long ends come into contact with each other. Best you can. Obviously I'm not using a fletching jig for this. Put it over the shaft of the arrow. Again, try not to let which I've done again. We will get there. This is why I'm only doing 1 fletching and not 3. We fold it in half lengthways, and then rather than moving tape to the arrow, we'll move the arrow to the tape. Says as he struggles. I don't think this is going to be a perfect fletching, but you get the idea. So that's now onto the arrow itself. Not at the ideal angle, but that's okay for now. And then you trim off the excess. Okay, it's not perfect fletching as you can see, but it's enough to stabilize your arrow in flight and enough to give the correct amount of drag to your arrow as well. Again, not perfect, and you would need to repair any arrows properly once you got home with pre-made fletchings, or take your time to make better fletchings. But again, in an emergency situation, they will work. Take that off because I've got to put some proper fletchings on this arrow. I'll do that obviously off camera. So this next one that the Pinterest article says, butterfly bandage strips. Add smaller strips across the centres. See, I'm going to read this article as it's, or this part of this article as it says, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I've seen butterfly bandage strips, but, well, I'll just read it. cut two small strips of DT and add a smaller strip across their centres, sticky side to sticky side, to create a makeshift butterfly suture. Well, if it's sticky side to sticky side, what's going to stick to the skin? So I'm not going to try that. Okay, number 4, make cordage. Now, see how long, how much view I've got. I like the view on this. So, a couple of ways of making cordage with duct tape. A method where you use one strip, and it's just as easy as twisting. Again, doesn't have to be particularly neat. You just twist. And as you would with rope or string, it will create some cordage with increased strength. Now, it's not the best, but in terms of strength, obviously you are increasing the strength by twisting it together. I mean, duct tape's strong anyway, but twisting it like that, it just becomes a lot stronger. There is, of course, another way of doing it, and that is to take two pieces of duct tape, and twist them together. So as you can see, I've put them at a slight angle. That way they are crossing over each other. Of course, the problem with duct tape is it's so sticky, it sticks to everything, which makes working with it sometimes a little bit tricky. There's several ways of making cordage. There's twisting, there's plaiting, there's also various the amounts of different individual threads that you use. Personally, I use a 2-twist or a 2-strand twist and a 3-strand plait. Reason being is I can't remember how to make anything more. However, a 3-strand or 2-strand twist and a 3-strand plait is usually more than enough. Yeah, it's usually more than enough to give you to do everything you want with. I mean, all you need to do is take your 2-strand twist and then twist it again with another 2-strand twist, and you've got a 4-strand twist. And this isn't working out as I thought it would. Okay, skip that one. Try again. A lot of duct tape going in this one. I might as well show you the 2-strand twist. So, start off. This to its own little twist. Now again, with this, it's not a permanent solution. It's a temporary solution. It's a temporary solution. You obviously need to get genuine stuff when you get back to civilization. I tend to go back to civilization, that is, of course. The way things are at the moment, I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to come back to civilization. And then do the same with the other piece. Speed this up a bit. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't want you sitting around waiting for me to do this perfectly for hours. Get to something like that. This is where you start. Like I say, you can either plait it together or you can twist it together. As you can see, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it does work. Let's tie that end off just with a simple knot. Ew, sticky. Twist it together. As you can see, it does makes emergency cordage. It's not perfect, it's not as good as rope, it's not as good as actual cord, but in an emergency, yeah, it's pretty strong. Does what you need it to do. Right, the next one I'm not going to be able to do, and that is patch a hole in a canoe. I don't have a canoe, so yeah, I can't do that one. So moving straight on to number 6, fashion a belt. Well, I mean, yeah. Obviously, you would have to make a very long, you'd have to take a very long piece of duct tape to create a belt. The problem you would have with this is once you've looped it round on itself, and you can already see the problem, it sticks to itself. So once you've looped it around yourself and looped it round your trousers, how useful is that going to be? I really don't think it's going to be that useful. So as for a belt, I don't think that would work. Right, first aid sling. Now, with this, I can actually see this working, as long as you do it correctly. Now, same thing applies, you've got to be careful with the stickiness. But the idea with this is not to stick it to your cable. Again, this is an emergency thing. If you've got the correct equipment, use the correct equipment. But the idea is, you fold your duct tape in half lengthways, like we have been doing with a lot of these suggestions. As best you can, try and get as much of the sticky, much of the glue covered up as possible. And then the idea is, obviously this isn't long enough, but the idea is you either take that to itself, over your neck, which you can't see, and then supports a broken wrist or busted arm or something like that. This would work. In all honesty, this would work. The only thing you would need to do is put more tape there to stop, obviously, the weight of your arm from unattaching itself, but it would work. There's lots of different methods of making improvised slings. This is one of them, provided you make it strong enough, and it's not hard to make it strong. Okay, moving on. Leave a note. Well, this one's easy enough, provided you have a Sharpie or something else that can write on duct tape. And I will be writing this upside down. Actually, no, I will try and write it up correctly your way. So, not bad for writing upside down. So yes, it works, and you can leave notes, and you can mark different boxes, different things to help survive. Problem is, got to leave it a few seconds before it dries completely. But afterwards, it should be okay again for temporary use. Remember, these are all temporary use things, so yeah. It's just, remember that these are all temporary use things. They're not a permanent solution. But yes, that is one that will work. Next one is makeshift handcuffs. Well, obviously I'm not going to do that. But the idea is that duct tape is strong enough that if you use it in conjunction with a tree, you can prevent somebody from hurting themselves or others by duct taping their wrists around a tree. I'm not sure that's going to work, but there we go. Right, mend shoes and clothing. Yes, this one works. I've seen it done. Again, it's a temporary solution. If you get back to, or when you get back to civilization, you will need to either repair properly or replace shoes and clothing. But it does work, it can work. Best way to do it is a piece of duct tape on either side of the hole, or whatever needs to be repaired. Last but not least, and this is on the list, however, anybody who's done this knows this is pretty much worthless. It works as a temporary fix, but you really shouldn't be using it for more than a day, a week at the very most. And that is repairing glasses. We've all seen people who have taped up the bridge of their glasses or the side of their glasses to keep them working. And again, yes, it works. And yes, I've had to do it myself. Not the greatest. The idea is well, you get the idea. The idea is that you tape up the bridge to the glasses, the bridge of the glasses across the centre, and it does, in fairness, it does do a good job as a temporary fix. But if you need the glasses for whatever reason, there you go. I'm not going to do it completely, but you get the idea. Do the bridge, you do the sides. It does work, but honestly, if you have to tape your glasses together like that, I hope the next trip that you use with them is to the opticians to get a new pair, because as I say, it's a temporary fix. It's fine. I mean, if I broke these glasses, I would have to do this to go to the opticians because I need glasses to drive, so I would have to do this as a temporary fix. So it does work, but it really isn't recommended long term. Right, so that's the first half of duct tape uses. Hopefully I'll get the second half of duct tape uses out next week, and we'll see what other gems and pearls of wisdom they come out with. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Like I say, the second half of this video should be out next week, with luck. And yeah, I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye for now.